I broke down my neighbor's door. Now she left me a key and said, "So you don't have to next time." Every morning he would walk down the narrow streets of his city, watch the same people in the small cafes, and avoid anything that felt even slightly risky. But today, the world decided to break its own rules. It started with a sharp, whirring sound outside his window. Eli paused mid-sip of his coffee, staring through the thin curtains. A sleek, metallic drone hovered silently above the street. Its lights flickered with colors he couldn't name, and its movements were precise, almost too perfect to be natural. The city had seen drones before, of course. The alien patrols had been a part of life for months now, scanning every neighborhood, observing humanity like we were nothing more than ants under glass. But this drone was different. It moved closer to his building with a purpose, like it had a target. Eli felt a cold sweat run down his back. He didn't know why, but he instinctively knew he had to get out. He grabbed his coat, shoved his hands into the pockets, and stepped into the hall. That's when he realized the door to his apartment was jammed. Panic prickled his mind. The drone was moving faster now, and its sensors seemed to flicker, scanning, searching. Eli yanked at the lock, but it wouldn't budge. Then he heard it, a quiet voice from the apartment next door. "Hey, you there?" Eli froze. It was a woman's voice, calm but carrying an edge that said she knew exactly what was happening. He peered through the peephole and saw a small figure standing by the door. Her hair was dark, pulled back into a neat braid, and her eyes shone with intelligence. She looked prepared. "I think you need this," she said suddenly. Before Eli could respond, she slid something under the door. It was a small, metallic object that gleamed faintly in the light, a key, but it wasn't just any key. The symbols etched onto its surface looked strange, unfamiliar, almost alien. Eli stared at it, confused. What is this?" he whispered to himself. The woman smiled faintly. "So you don't have to break in next time." Eli blinked. His heart pounded in his chest. "Break in?" "Yes," she said. "You're about to need it." At that moment the whirring outside became louder. The drone's sensors had caught his movement. Eli didn't have time to ask questions. Without thinking, he picked up the key and ran to Mara's door, the door of the woman who had just spoken. He jabbed the key into the lock. To his surprise, it fit perfectly. The door swung open with a soft click, revealing a room that was unexpected. It was tidy but not ordinary. Shelves lined the walls, stacked with small devices Eli didn't recognize. Maps of the city were pinned up, with strange symbols and routes marked in red. On a table lay several gadgets that looked like they belonged in a science lab rather than an apartment. One of them, a small metallic drone about the size of a football, hummed softly. Its sensors blinked in green. Eli stepped inside, feeling a mix of fear and awe. Who are you?" he asked aloud. The woman Mara stepped forward calmly. "Someone who prepares for things others don't even see coming," she said. Before Eli could respond, the whirring drone outside suddenly changed direction. Its sensors blinked red and a warning siren sounded somewhere in the building. The alien patrol had found him. Eli's mind raced. He had no weapons, no special training, nothing. All he had was instinct, and now Mara's key. "Follow me," Mara said, grabbing his hand and leading him through a narrow corridor at the back of the apartment. She pressed a hidden panel on the wall, and a section of the bookshelf slid open, revealing a stairway that led down into darkness. Eli's stomach churned. Where are we going?" "To safety," Mara said. Her voice was steady, and somehow that steadiness gave Eli a little courage. "You have to trust me." They descended the stairs, the sound of the alien drone growing fainter but still audible above them. The stairway opened into a small underground room. It was illuminated by soft, glowing panels embedded in the walls. The air smelled faintly of metal and ozone. "This is," Eli began, but Mara cut him off. "It's a safe room. I built it myself. For people like you, people who don't expect the world to be dangerous until it is." Eli swallowed hard. He looked around at the array of devices. There were tools for surveillance, small drones, and even a device that looked like it could interfere with alien sensors. You built all this, Mara nodded. Humans are underestimated. Everyone thinks we're weak, slow, predictable, but we're not. We just have to think differently. Eli felt a strange sense of pride well up inside him. He had always believed humans were clever in small ways, solving problems, inventing, surviving. But seeing all this, seeing someone who had actually prepared for the aliens, it made him feel part of something bigger. The sound of the drone outside grew louder again. Mara handed him a small handheld device. Here, you'll need this. Eli took it, examining it closely. It was simple but elegant. What does it do? He asked. It can jam sensors, temporarily. It's not much, but it might save you a second or two if you need it, Mara explained. Seconds later, the whirring stopped. The drone had moved on, apparently confused by something. Eli exhaled, relief washing over him. Mara leaned against the wall. See, humans don't need brute force. We survive by thinking, by acting when others don't, by adapting. Eli nodded slowly. I think I understand, she smiled faintly. Good, that's the first step. The second step is realizing that the world is bigger and stranger than you think, and it's our job to rise to the challenge. For a long moment, Eli just stared at her. She had a calm, confident presence, but beneath it, he sensed layers of intelligence and preparation he couldn't even imagine. He realized that this woman, Mara, was a reminder of what humanity could be when it refused to be underestimated. I broke your door, he said finally, sheepishly. Mara shrugged. You did, but that's okay. Sometimes doors break for a reason. Sometimes it's just how the world forces you to learn. Eli laughed nervously, but the sound felt good in the tense atmosphere. He felt alive, more awake than he had in months. The key in his pocket was no longer just a piece of metal. It was a symbol that humans could adapt, survive, and even thrive when faced with impossible odds. You're going to have to teach me all of this, he said. Mara's eyes twinkled. I already have. You just didn't know it yet. Outside, the city continued to hum with life, unaware of the small rebellion happening in this quiet apartment. Eli and Mara moved quickly, examining devices and maps, planning and preparing. Every instinct, every small decision mattered now. Every human ability, logic, creativity, courage was about to be tested. And somewhere deep in Eli's mind, a small thought emerged. Maybe humans were stronger than anyone, even the aliens, believed. The drone might have been powerful, precise, and relentless. But Eli now had Mara's key, and with it, a chance to unlock something much greater. As he looked at the small metallic object in his hand, he realized that the world had changed. It wasn't just dangerous. It was full of opportunity, challenge, and, most importantly, proof that humanity was not to be underestimated. And Eli knew, without a doubt, that his life would never be the same again. Eli couldn't stop staring at the safe room. The glow from the panels on the walls cast soft, shifting shadows across the floor. For a man who had always lived a quiet, predictable life, this room felt like stepping into another world, a world full of possibilities and danger, all at the same time. Mara moved calmly among the shelves, her fingers tracing the edges of the strange devices as if checking their readiness. Every tool here has a purpose, she said. Every map tells a story. And every moment you wait could make the difference between survival and something worse. Eli swallowed hard. Worse than what? Mara didn't answer directly. Instead, she picked up a small metallic drone from the table and held it up. It was no bigger than a football, with thin, almost invisible wings that folded against its sides. This little guy can scout places humans shouldn't go. Watch. Before Eli could ask how, Mara activated the drone. It hummed to life, its wings unfolding silently. The drone lifted into the air and zoomed toward the small window. Moments later, The display panel on the wall showed the drone's camera view. The street outside, the whirring of alien drones moving past, scanning the city, oblivious to the small human spy in their midst. Eli felt a rush of awe. You can watch them, Mara nodded. Not just watch, we can learn, we can predict, we can prepare. Humans have a way of noticing things others ignore. That's our advantage. Eli's mind spun. For months, humans had been living under alien observation, never challenging them directly, never acting boldly. And yet here was Mara, using nothing more than intelligence, curiosity, and resourcefulness to stay one step ahead. He moved closer to the wall covered in maps. Routes were marked in red, symbols he didn't understand, and small glowing dots represented locations. "What is all this?" he asked. Mara gestured to the maps. "These are the paths the aliens patrol most often, these symbols. They show where humans can move safely or where danger is highest. The dots mark places humans have survived against the odds. Every move we make is calculated, but not with fear, with understanding." Eli ran his fingers along one of the red lines. "You've been doing this for a long time." "Longer than you think," Mara said. Her eyes were steady, almost challenging him to question more. "Humans are underestimated. They think we are weak, slow, predictable, but we are not. We just need to notice the patterns, to use the tools, and to act when others hesitate." Eli felt a spark of pride. He had never considered himself brave or clever, but looking at Mara, he realized that being human meant more than surviving. It meant thinking, adapting, and overcoming. A soft beep sounded from one of the devices on the table. Mara's eyes flicked to it. "The drones are closer than I thought," she said. "We need to be ready." Eli's heart raced. "Ready for what?" Mara smiled faintly, a mix of calm and seriousness. "For opportunity. Sometimes danger shows the way to strength." She handed Eli a small device, no bigger than a pocket watch. "This will help you. Use it only when you have to. Trust your instincts." Eli took the device, feeling its weight. "What does it do?" "It disrupts their sensors temporarily. It won't stop them for long, but it can give you a chance to move." He nodded, trying to absorb everything. Mara had prepared for this, not just herself, but for anyone willing to learn, anyone willing to act. It was astonishing. For a while, they worked silently. Eli examined the drones, the maps, and the strange devices. Mara explained the purpose of each one, demonstrating how small, seemingly ordinary tools could become powerful when combined with human ingenuity. She showed him how to improvise, how to predict alien movements, and how to think creatively under pressure. "Humans survive because we adapt," Mara said. "We notice patterns, and when others hesitate, we act. Fear slows aliens, but humans can turn fear into strength." Eli felt a strange warmth inside him. He had always lived a cautious life, avoiding risks, always second-guessing himself. But now he felt alive. He felt capable. He felt human in a way he hadn't before. Suddenly, a sharp beep echoed from the drone's monitor. Eli glanced at it. "Something is happening outside." Mara's expression grew serious. "They're close, too close." Before Eli could ask more, the drone's camera feed showed a patrol moving down the street. Alien drones, sleek and metallic, scanning the city with precision. But thanks to Mara's preparations, the patrol didn't notice the small humans in the safe room below. Mara handed Eli the handheld device again. "Use it if they get too close. Timing is everything." Eli nodded. He felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. It was one thing to observe, to learn. It was another to act. And now he had a chance to prove himself, not just to Mara but to the world. Minutes passed, then hours. Eli and Mara moved quietly through the safe room, testing devices, planning routes, and improvising strategies. The city outside hummed with life, unaware of the small rebellion happening beneath its streets. Then Mara paused, her hand hovering over a panel on the wall. "There's one more thing you need to see," she said. She pressed a hidden button and a section of the wall slid open, revealing a narrow corridor. The air inside smelled faintly of metal and circuitry. Eli stepped forward, curiosity burning in his chest. "This leads to a hidden passage," Mara explained. "It connects to multiple parts of the city, places the aliens think are empty, places humans can move safely." Eli's eyes widened. "You've thought of everything." Mara shook her head. "No, I've thought of enough. Humans will think of the rest. That's how we survive. That's how we win." For the next several hours, Mara taught Eli how to use the hidden passage, how to navigate the city undetected, and how to combine human intuition with technology. She showed him how to improvise, how to turn ordinary objects into tools, and how to predict alien behavior by noticing small details they overlooked. Eli was amazed. Every lesson, every device, every map, everything Mara had prepared was a demonstration of human ingenuity. Humans were clever, resourceful, and adaptable, and now he was learning to become part of that. As night fell, the city outside quieted, but Eli's mind was alive with possibilities. He thought about the alien drones, the patrols, the danger, and he realized something important. Humans didn't just survive. Humans adapted. Humans created. Humans overcame. Mara handed him a small metallic device. "One day you'll use this," she said. "And when you do, remember what humans are capable of." Eli nodded, feeling a strange mix of fear and excitement. The world was dangerous, the aliens were powerful, and yet humans had something the aliens couldn't predict: creativity, courage, and the ability to think differently. He looked at Mara, and for the first time he understood her fully. She wasn't just preparing for survival. She was preparing for a future where humans could stand unafraid in the face of any challenge. Eli smiled, feeling the weight of the key in his pocket. It wasn't just a key to a door. It was a key to understanding, a key to opportunity, and a key to proving that humanity could rise above fear, danger, and the impossible. Outside, the city continued to hum. Alien drones moved through the streets, scanning, observing, unaware that humans were quietly preparing beneath them. And in the hidden safe room, Eli felt something stir inside him, something powerful, something uniquely human. It was hope. And it was the first step toward change. The city at night was quiet, but for Eli it never felt so alive. Every shadow seemed to hide movement, every street corner whispered caution. He followed Mara through the hidden corridor, his senses sharper than ever before. The safe room had been a revelation, but now the real test was beginning, moving through the city without being noticed. Eli's heart raced with a mixture of fear and excitement. The alien drones patrolled above, their silent hums like the ticking of a giant, mechanical clock. One wrong move, one misstep, and everything could end in an instant. But Mara had trained him well. She had shown him how to anticipate the drone's patterns, how to use the city's ordinary features as cover, and how to improvise when plans failed. "This way," Mara whispered, leading him through a narrow passage between two abandoned buildings. The walls were covered in old graffiti, peeling paint, and broken pipes, but they offered perfect hiding spots. Mara moved like she had walked these paths 100 times, her eyes scanning every shadow. Eli struggled to keep up, his legs burning, his breath coming in short, shallow gasps. They reached a corner, and Mara pressed a button on the small device Eli had carried for hours. A soft blue glow appeared on the wall, projecting a holographic map of the city streets. "The drones will sweep this area in exactly 30 seconds, she said. "We have a small window to move." Eli nodded. He had no weapons, no armor, just his instincts and the tools Mara had given him. But for the first time in his life, he felt like he belonged. He understood why humans survived. Not because we were strong or fast, but because we could think, adapt, and act when others hesitated. They moved. The first stretch of the corridor ended in an open alley. Eli's stomach dropped. The moonlight revealed the familiar shapes of alien drones scanning the streets. He froze, but Mara grabbed his arm. "Move slowly. Watch their patterns, trust me." Eli followed her, stepping carefully over broken crates and puddles of rainwater. One drone hovered closer, its sensors scanning below. Eli's heart thudded. The drone was close enough that if it detected him, there would be no escape. Mara whispered, "Now." Eli activated the device. A soft pulse of light emerged, barely visible but enough to scramble the drone's sensors for a few precious seconds. The drone wavered, its movements jerky, confused. Eli and Mara slipped past it, hearts pounding. "That was amazing," Eli whispered, barely able to catch his breath. Mara didn't smile. "Stay focused. This is just the beginning." They moved through the streets, turning ordinary features into obstacles. Piles of crates became barricades. Streetlights cast shadows they could hide in. Sewer grates offered alternate routes. Every step required planning, observation, and improvisation. Eli realized that humans had a natural advantage, the ability to adapt to unexpected situations. Aliens could follow patterns, but humans could break them, improvise, and think beyond what was expected. Hours passed. They moved quietly, avoiding patrols, improvising as needed. Eli felt his confidence grow with every successful maneuver. He began to notice things Mara hadn't pointed out: loose wires that could trip a drone, reflections in windows that could confuse sensors, even the timing of streetlights to provide cover. He was learning the true meaning of human ingenuity. But just as he started to relax, Mara froze. She held up her hand, eyes narrowing. Eli followed her gaze and saw it, an alien patrol moving faster than usual, scanning with precision. One of the drones hovered low, its sensors sweeping the alley. "They've detected something," Mara whispered. "We need to act fast." Eli's mind raced. There was no time to retreat. The corridor behind them was blocked. Ahead, the patrol advanced. He remembered the small EMP device Mara had given him. Could it work again? Could it save them? "Ready?" Mara asked. Eli nodded. He activated the device. A soft pulse radiated outward, disrupting the drone's sensors. The drone wavered violently, lights flashing red, and then hovered aimlessly for a few seconds. Mara grabbed Eli's hand and they ran. The patrol adjusted quickly, sending more drones toward them. Eli felt panic rise, but he forced himself to think. They couldn't outrun them, the drones were faster. They had to outsmart them. He noticed a construction site nearby, half-finished buildings and scaffolding. "There," he shouted, pointing. "We can climb." Mara followed without hesitation. They scaled the scaffolding, using their hands and feet to move silently but quickly. The drones reached the base and scanned, but Eli and Mara were already above, hidden by shadows. Eli's heart pounded, but he felt a strange exhilaration. Humans didn't just survive danger, they used it, transformed it into an opportunity. He realized something. The aliens might be stronger, faster, more precise, but humans were unpredictable. That unpredictability was their weapon. They moved across the scaffolding, jumping from platform to platform. Eli nearly slipped once, but Mara caught him just in time. "Careful," she whispered. "Trust your instincts." They reached the roof of a building and paused. Below, the alien patrol continued, scanning methodically. Eli looked at Mara. We made it." Mara shook her head. "Not yet. They're learning. Every time we escape, they adjust. We need to stay ahead, keep moving, and always think one step further." Eli nodded, his mind already racing. He scanned the rooftops, looking for routes, escape paths, places to hide, and ways to turn the city itself into an advantage. Mara had taught him to see possibilities, but now he was beginning to anticipate them on his own. Hours turned into what felt like days. They moved like shadows, crossing the city's rooftops, slipping through hidden alleys, using every trick and improvisation Mara had shown him. Eli felt his confidence grow with each step, but the tension never fully left him. The alien patrols were relentless, intelligent, and adaptable. One mistake could be fatal. Then, as they paused on a rooftop overlooking the city center, Eli noticed something unusual. A small group of humans were gathered, quietly observing the drones, mapping their patrols and marking escape routes. They looked unarmed, ordinary, but there was a calm determination in their eyes, a cleverness that Eli recognized immediately. "They're like us," Eli whispered. Mara nodded. "Exactly. Humans are everywhere, quietly resisting, learning, surviving. You're not alone, you never were." Eli felt a surge of pride. Humanity wasn't weak. Humanity wasn't passive. Humans adapted, survived, and thrived even when faced with overwhelming odds. And now he was part of that story, part of a network of people quietly turning the city into a place the aliens could never fully control. Suddenly, a drone sensor swept too close. Eli activated the EMP device again, creating a short pulse that disrupted its sensors. Mara led him across another rooftop, and they landed silently on a fire escape. The patrol adjusted, moving toward the rooftops, but Eli and Mara had already vanished into the night. Eli's legs shook, his heart raced, but he felt alive. For the first time, he realized the true power of being human: creativity, courage, and the ability to adapt. The aliens might be technologically superior, but humans were unpredictable, clever, and resilient. That unpredictability was a weapon they could not match. Mara paused on a high rooftop, looking down at the city spread before them. "Every step we take, every move we make, teaches them nothing they expect. That's why we survive. That's why humans always will." Eli nodded, feeling a profound truth settle inside him. Humans had faced impossible odds before, and they would do so again. Aliens might patrol the skies, but humanity had instinct, intelligence, and ingenuity, qualities no machine could fully predict or control. As they moved quietly through the city, Eli realized something else. This wasn't just about survival. This was about opportunity. The aliens had underestimated humans for too long. Now, humans were beginning to show them that strength wasn't measured in speed, power, or technology, but in creativity, courage, and the ability to think beyond the expected. For hours, they continued the chase, moving through the city with careful precision. Eli felt his confidence grow, his instincts sharpen, and his understanding of human ingenuity deepen. He was no longer just a cautious man living a predictable life. He was part of something greater, a human mind capable of adapting, surviving, and thriving in the face of impossible odds. Finally, they reached a small, safe house, hidden in plain sight. Mara led Eli inside, closing the door silently behind them. They both sat down, exhausted but alert, listening to the distant hum of drones outside. Eli looked at Mara, his eyes wide with a mix of awe and determination. We did it. We survived." Mara smiled faintly. "Survival is only the beginning. Humans don't just survive, Eli. We adapt, we learn, and when the time comes, we rise." Eli felt a surge of pride and hope. Humanity wasn't weak. Humanity wasn't passive. Humans were clever, resourceful, and resilient. And now he was part of that story, ready to prove that even in the face of overwhelming odds, humanity could rise. He held the small key Mara had given him, feeling its weight in his hand. It wasn't just a key to a door anymore. It was a symbol. A symbol of human ingenuity, courage, and the ability to turn even the most desperate situation into an opportunity. Outside, the city slept under the watchful eyes of alien drones. But inside, a human mind was awake, thinking, planning, and preparing. And for the first time, Eli knew that humanity wasn't just surviving, it was beginning to fight back. And when the aliens realized it, it would already be too late. Eli sat on the edge of the safe house floor, his mind buzzing. The city outside seemed calm, but he knew better. Alien drones moved above, scanning, observing, unaware that their usual predictability was being challenged. For months, humans had been hiding, reacting only when forced. Now Mara's lessons were changing everything. Eli, Mara said, her voice calm but firm, we're not just running anymore. It's time humans take the first move. Eli looked at her confused. But how? The aliens are everywhere. We can't fight them head-on. Mara shook her head. No. Fighting them head-on is what they expect. We're going to do something they don't expect. Humans survive because we adapt, because we think differently. Now we use that to our advantage. She led him to a large table where maps of the city were spread out. Routes were marked, locations noted, and small red symbols showed where alien patrols were heaviest. There were also hidden safe zones, previously unknown to the aliens. Mara traced a route with her finger. This is our plan, she explained. We'll use the city itself as a weapon. Drones expect humans to hide. They expect us to stay put. But if we move smartly, improvise, and act quickly, we can disrupt their patrols, confuse them, and even reclaim some areas temporarily. Eli's heart raced. It sounded impossible, but he had already seen what humans could do when they combined intelligence with courage. And you think this can work? He asked. Mara smiled faintly. I know it will. Humans don't just survive, Eli. We turn odds against us into opportunities. And tonight we begin. They moved quietly through the city, using the hidden corridors and rooftops Mara had shown him. The streets below were eerily quiet, the usual hum of life reduced as people stayed indoors, wary of the drones above. Every shadow became a hiding place, every alley a potential route. Eli felt more alive than he ever had, adrenaline sharpening his senses. Mara stopped near a narrow alley that led to a communication tower in the city center. This is our target, she said. If we take control of this tower, we can send a signal humans can use, something to show the aliens that Earth isn't passive, that humans are capable, clever, and unpredictable. Eli nodded, understanding immediately. The aliens expected obedience, predictability. Humans could give them neither. They approached the tower cautiously. Drones hovered above, scanning. Mara handed Eli the small EMP device. Use it when you're ready, she whispered. Timing is everything. Eli's hands trembled slightly, but he took a deep breath and activated the device. A pulse of energy radiated outward, temporarily disabling the drone's sensors. Lights on the drones flickered red, and they wavered midair. Mara grabbed his hand and they moved quickly, slipping past the patrols unnoticed. Once inside the tower, Mara guided Eli to the control room. The room was filled with screens and panels, most still functioning despite the aliens' attempts to control the city's infrastructure. Mara tapped a few keys and a map of the city lit up, showing patrol routes, drone locations, and human-safe zones. This is it, she said. From here we can send a signal, a message, something they won't predict. Eli nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility. He had never imagined he would be part of something so daring, so important. But the lessons Mara had taught him, the improvisation, the observation, the courage, made him ready. Together they activated the broadcast system. The screens flickered and a signal pulsed through the city's network. For the first time, humans were not just reacting, they were acting. The signal disrupted the drones' guidance systems, causing confusion among the patrols. Drones hovered aimlessly, some crashing into buildings, others scanning uselessly. Eli watched in awe. Humanity's ingenuity was working. Simple devices, combined with clever planning and bold action, were turning the tide, even if only temporarily. But the aliens were not idle. They quickly adjusted, sending more drones, analyzing the signal, adapting to human tactics. The patrols were faster now, more precise, but Eli and Mara were ready. They had anticipated this, prepared countermeasures, and improvised further. The city became a chessboard, humans and aliens moving in unpredictable patterns. Eli led a small group of humans through rooftops and alleyways, using mirrors, shadows, and improvised barriers to confuse the drones. Every move required observation, quick thinking, and courage. Every human involved became a player in a game the aliens could not fully predict. Hours passed. Eli's body ached, but he felt alive in a way he had never experienced. Fear was present, but it was accompanied by exhilaration. Humans were fighting, not with brute strength, not with weapons of war, but with intelligence, creativity, and adaptability. At one point, a drone hovered dangerously close. Eli activated the EMP device again, but this time Mara had prepared a trap. They had rigged nearby streetlights to emit blinding pulses of light, disorienting the drone further. It wavered, confused, and Eli led his group past it. The humans moved like shadows, unpredictable, clever, unstoppable. "This is incredible," Eli whispered as they paused on a rooftop overlooking the city. "We're actually doing it. We're making them retreat," Mara nodded. "Not yet. We're sending a message. Humans are clever, adaptable, and unpredictable. That is what they cannot understand. And that is our advantage." They continued their work, reclaiming small areas of the city temporarily, disrupting patrols and confusing the drones. Each successful action reinforced the truth Mara had taught Eli. Humans survive not by overpowering enemies, but by outthinking them. At one point, Eli noticed a small group of humans watching from a hidden courtyard. They looked ordinary, unarmed, but their eyes were sharp, their movements precise. They were part of the larger network Mara had spoken about, humans quietly resisting, learning, and now acting. Eli realized something profound. Humans were everywhere, quietly turning the city into a place the aliens could never fully control. The aliens, technological superiority meant little when faced with human ingenuity and courage. The night stretched on, and Eli felt exhaustion creeping in, but he refused to stop. Every successful maneuver, every clever trick, every small victory reinforced his belief in humanity. Humans were not weak. Humans were not passive. Humans could adapt, survive, and even thrive against impossible odds. Finally, Mara guided Eli back to the safe house. They were battered, tired, but triumphant. The city outside still hummed with alien patrols, but the humans inside had sent a message. Earth was not passive. Humans were clever, adaptable, and willing to act. Eli sat down, looking at Mara. We actually did it. The aliens, they couldn't predict us." Mara smiled. "No, and they never will fully. Humans are unpredictable. We learn, we adapt, and when the time comes, we rise." Eli held the small key Mara had given him, feeling its weight in his hand. It was no longer just a key to a door. It was a symbol of human ingenuity, courage, and the ability to turn even the most desperate situation into an opportunity. Outside, the city slept under the watchful eyes of alien drones. But inside, human minds were awake, thinking, planning, and preparing. And for the first time, Eli knew that humanity wasn't just surviving, it was beginning to fight back. As dawn approached, Eli looked out over the city. The first light of morning painted the streets with soft colors, revealing the scars of the night's chaos. Buildings bore marks of drones crashing, streets showed evidence of clever human tricks, and everywhere, small signs of resistance glimmered. Eli felt a surge of hope. Humanity had begun to show its true strength. Intelligence, creativity, and courage were tools no alien could fully predict or counter, and now humans were beginning to take the initiative. Mara placed a hand on Eli's shoulder. "Remember this feeling," she said. "This is what humans are capable of. Never forget it." Eli nodded, feeling the weight of the night's lesson settle in. Humanity was clever, resourceful, and unstoppable when it refused to be underestimated. And this was only the beginning. The aliens might have had technology, precision, and power, but humans had something they could never control: creativity, courage, and the ability to think beyond the expected. Eli smiled, looking at the small key in his hand. He knew that the next phase of their fight would be even harder, but he was ready. Humans had begun turning the tables, and when the aliens realized it, it would already be too late. The city waited, silent but alive. And so did humanity. The city lay quiet under the early morning light, but Eli and Mara knew better. Alien drones still patrolled the streets, scanning, observing, analyzing. Yet something had changed. Humanity was no longer passive. Humans had begun to act, to challenge the expectation that they were weak, predictable, and manageable. Eli adjusted the small key in his pocket, feeling its cold metal weight. It had become more than a key to a door. It was a symbol, a reminder of human ingenuity, adaptability, and courage. And today that key would guide him toward something bigger than himself. "Are you ready?" Mara asked, her voice calm but charged with determination. Eli nodded. "I think so. I feel ready." They stepped out from the safe house into the dim streets. The city was quiet except for the faint hum of drones above. But Eli noticed the subtle differences from previous nights. Minor disruptions in the drones' patterns, small barricades humans had left to confuse sensors, signs of improvisation and intelligence everywhere. Humans were waking up to the challenge, and the city was beginning to pulse with possibility. Mara led him toward the central plaza, a large open space dominated by a massive alien control tower. This tower had been the heart of alien surveillance, the place from which drones were guided and monitored. Taking control of it would send a clear message. Humans were not passive observers, they were participants. Eli's heart raced. The plaza was heavily monitored, drones hovering in perfect formation, scanning every corner. Mara whispered, "This is it. Timing and strategy will decide everything." They moved along the shadows, slipping past patrols and avoiding the areas most heavily scanned. Mara had taught Eli everything she knew about observation, improvisation, and reading alien patterns. He noticed small details that others might miss: a flicker in a drone sensor, a subtle shift in its flight path, a shadow that could provide cover. When they reached the base of the tower, Mara gestured to a small service entrance hidden behind a pile of debris. "Through here," she said. "And remember, this is more than survival. This is opportunity." Eli followed, feeling a mixture of fear and exhilaration. The door creaked as they entered, revealing a narrow stairwell leading upward. The interior smelled faintly of metal and ozone, and the faint hum of the tower's systems reverberated around them. They climbed quietly, carefully, avoiding pressure-sensitive floors that might alert the alien systems. At each level, Eli's confidence grew. He was no longer just following Mara's instructions. He was anticipating, improvising, and acting. Humanity's unpredictability, the very quality the aliens could not predict, was becoming his greatest strength. Finally, they reached the control room at the top of the tower. Panels of alien design flickered across walls, showing maps, drone locations, and citywide systems. Mara moved swiftly, tapping keys, bypassing security protocols, and preparing the system for a human override. Eli stood beside her, taking a deep breath. This is incredible," he whispered. "We're actually going to do it." Mara nodded. "We're not just going to survive. We're going to show them that humans cannot be controlled, predicted, or underestimated." Eli's fingers hovered over the control panel. Mara gave him a nod of encouragement. "The city is ready. Humans are ready. Now it's time to act." He pressed the first key. A pulse of energy flowed through the system, temporarily disabling the drone's guidance network. The drones wavered, their sensors blinking red as systems went offline. Mara and Eli moved quickly, sending coordinated signals to human allies throughout the city, guiding them to take advantage of the temporary disruption. Below, humans emerged from hiding, using Mara's routes and guidance to reclaim streets, barricade alleys, and confuse the patrols. Eli watched as ordinary people, shopkeepers, students, delivery workers, became part of a coordinated effort, turning the city into a place the aliens could no longer fully control. The aliens responded immediately, sending reinforcements, analyzing the signal, trying to regain control. But Eli and Mara were prepared. Improvised systems, clever use of human unpredictability, and coordinated action kept the aliens off balance. Every move by humans was unexpected, calculated, and effective. Eli activated another system Mara had shown him, a series of small electromagnetic pulses that disrupted drone sensors in specific zones. Drones wavered, some crashed into buildings, others spun in confusion. Mara guided him in sending signals to multiple human teams, creating a network of resistance across the city. Hours passed, and the city became a chessboard of human ingenuity versus alien precision. Each small victory built momentum, and Eli felt a sense of pride and exhilaration he had never known. Humanity was proving itself, not with brute force, but with intelligence, creativity, and courage. At one point, Eli noticed a group of humans attempting to free a trapped civilian from a collapsed alleyway. The alien patrol had no idea how to respond. Eli guided the rescuers using signals from the tower, showing them how to use shadows, barriers, and timing to stay undetected. The civilian was freed, and the humans retreated safely. Eli realized that every act of courage, every small demonstration of ingenuity, was reinforcing the message. Humans were not passive, predictable, or weak. Finally, as dawn broke, the alien patrols began to retreat. Their systems were confused, their drones disabled or misdirected, and for the first time, humans controlled the city streets, even if temporarily. Eli stood on the balcony of the control tower, looking out over the city he had helped reclaim. Mara joined him, her eyes scanning the horizon. "They underestimated us," she said softly. "They always do. Humans are unpredictable, adaptable, and clever, and now they know." Eli held the key in his hand, feeling its significance more strongly than ever. This small piece of metal had opened doors, led him to opportunities, and now symbolized humanity's resilience and ingenuity. It wasn't just a key to a room. It was a key to understanding, to proving that humans could rise to challenges no one thought they could face. He looked out over the city, seeing the small signs of human effort everywhere: barricades, signals, small groups coordinating quietly. Humans were alive, active, and proving that their strength was not in technology alone but in their minds, courage, and adaptability. Mara placed a hand on his shoulder. "Remember this, Eli. Humanity survives because we think, because we act, because we adapt. And when we rise together, nothing can stop us." Eli nodded, feeling the truth of her words settle deep inside him. Humans had faced impossible odds before. They had survived plagues, wars, disasters, and now alien observation. Each time, humans had adapted, learned, and emerged stronger. And now, in this city under alien surveillance, humans had done it again. The first rays of sunlight painted the streets gold. The city was quiet but alive, marked with the small victories of ordinary people. Eli knew this was just the beginning. Humans would continue to learn, adapt, and rise. The aliens had underestimated them for too long. And when the aliens returned, humanity would be ready, not because of brute force, but because of creativity, courage, and intelligence. Eli realized that was the real strength of humans, not what they had in their hands, but what they had in their minds and hearts. He looked at the key one last time and smiled. It had guided him through fear, danger, and uncertainty. It had shown him the true power of humanity. And now it would guide him into the future, a future where humans were not just survivors. They were thinkers, innovators, and unstoppable. Mara stepped beside him, looking out over the city. "The aliens may come back," she said. "They may try again. But we've shown them something tonight. Humans are unpredictable, humans are clever, humans are unstoppable." Eli nodded. "And we'll be ready, always ready. Together, they watched the city come alive with the quiet stirrings of human ingenuity. Drones moved cautiously, patrols adjusted their patterns, but humans had begun to assert control in ways no alien could fully anticipate. Humanity had proven itself, not with brute force, but with mind, heart, and courage. Eli realized that night that the small key in his pocket was more than a symbol, it was a promise. A promise that humans would continue to rise, to adapt, to innovate. That no matter how powerful the threat, humanity would find a way to survive, to thrive, and to triumph. The city was theirs for now, and for the first time, Eli felt hope stronger than fear. And in that moment, he understood the truth Mara had been teaching him all along. Humanity was unstoppable. The aliens had learned a lesson they would never forget. And humans had proven it without firing a single shot, without brute force, and without giving up. Eli took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the key and the responsibility it represented. The city stretched before him, full of potential, full of human ingenuity, and full of life. Humanity had risen, and nothing could stop it now. The key was in his hand, the city was alive, and the future, unpredictable, challenging, and bright, was theirs.